Camper.com has what you need. We're here for new and used. We're here for service. We're here for the outdoors. Above all, HilltopCamper.com is here to help you and your loved ones make memories. HilltopCamper.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
In this weather forecast brought to you by Hilltop Camper and RV, here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's been a dreary Friday the 13th. Isolated showers possible overnight. Will fall back to the low 50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. We should be dry for the most part with rain showers popping late. 73 the high. Scattered showers are possible on Father's Day. You'll notice it's going to get a little humid with a high up near 80. We'll have rounds of rain through the first few days next week.
Thank you, Chris. Cloudy and 55. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
When spring storms are at their worst, we're at our best. In severe weather, be here for the most current watches and warnings on News Talk 830 WCCO. Brought to you by Honest Exteriors. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the star of the show and your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
I'm a little nervous watching the images on CNN and on Fox News at our studio right now of another war in the Middle East, and I'm worried that Donald Trump is going to want to get involved in a fight. It's Jason. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Friday. We've got Card DeSharks coming up at 4 o'clock. Lots of fun ahead on the show. But it's hard not for somebody my age to feel like we're going back to the old Persian Gulf War days. Watching CNN, watching missiles launching through the air. But this time it's Israel and Iran. And Americans obviously have a lot of feelings about Israel. We've seen this be one of the major issues in the Democratic Party here in the United States, right? Are we on Israel's side or are we on Palestine's side? I don't think anyone is really on Iran's side when it comes to the nuclear capabilities of Iran, when it comes to the stability of the Middle East, when it comes to Iran. But the reality is here in the United States, like most of us have enough problems in our own life that we're not really worried or thinking about Iran or Israel or the Middle East or anything. But here we are with cable news being taken over with these images of war. And I'm looking at CNN right now where we're seeing like a blasted out apartment building, Iran retaliating. And as Dan and I were sitting around talking about, like, all right, how do we, like, you know, how are we feeling? What are we thinking about this? I sort of wondered where you're at. Because my number one concern is that Donald Trump likes using the military. And if there is a fight and an opportunity to show that we are the greatest country in the world, you sort of feel like, are we going to get involved in this thing? And should we? 651-461-9226 is how you can get a hold of us. You can always send us a voice message if you're listening on the Odyssey app. In the immediate moments of this sort of an attack, you never know who to believe, right? Iran is saying, look out, Israel. You know, we've sent 100 missiles and you face it. The quote is a dark night ahead. Israel is saying, and it is sort of remarkable looking at some of the damages and the number of missiles that have come, that Israel is now saying 17 people were injured in these attacks. I don't know, like for me, it's hard to get into that nitty gritty about the details of all of this, but the images are scary, right? We're in a world that's very volatile. We're in a country that's very volatile right now. We have images coming out of California, of protest. Tomorrow will be a national day of protest. We have a number of protests that are planned not only for St. Paul, but in different suburbs and in different cities all around Minnesota. And I just feel like the last thing that I want to see happen is the United States get sort of suckered into taking part in a war in the Middle East. Trying to figure out what Donald Trump will do in this is very interesting, right? Because at the same time that this escalation is happening, and what certainly feels like, whenever you're dealing with Israel, you feel like, all right, we've seen how they respond to an attack in Palestine. They responded at first with a ton of force and then with like a megaton of force, where you're like, okay, guys, like we get it. So with this, you look at Iran and you think like, all right, here's a country that is not going to be reasonable. And you look at the Ayatollah, and then you look at Benjamin Netanyahu, and you think, I don't know, is Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, for me at least stylistically, have some things in common. So it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. Texter says these endless wars have got to stop. I'm not super optimistic about that over the coming years. Are you? I mean, the era of the superpower being able to put down their foot and negotiate peace or negotiate a truce or any of that, I don't know. Like, it just takes one country with a huge amount of weapons to say, like, we don't really care what the United States wants. We don't really care what Russia wants or what China wants. We're going to do what we want. Iran is saying they've shot down 2 Israeli jets. Israel is saying Iran will pay a heavy price, a very heavy price, for firing on population centers. I mean, I think we're in for a weekend of this, right? And in Tel Aviv, Israel right now, it's a little after 11 o'clock at night. And this has been going on, over the last 12 hours or so. But I'm nervous about it. And there are things about President Trump that, when you look at the conversation about the military, you say, here's a guy who says he wants to be very strong military. We're going to have a massive parade showing America's military might tomorrow. I mean, the timing of all of this stuff perhaps is what makes me most nervous about all of it. That you've got California lighting up. You've got a military parade in Washington, D.C. that's going to look like something out of a movie. At the one hand, it's going to be amazing to celebrate the incredible history of the United States Army. On the other, watching Iran and Israel bomb the living crap out of each other. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to be worried about the fact that, like, we're going to just send these troops right from the big D.C. parade and ship them out. It's a little overwhelming. Lots of texts coming in. Jason, when somebody says they want to wipe you off the face of the earth, you need to take them seriously, especially since it's already been tried once before. Yeah. Jason, you and I have kids who are college bound, but my friend's son has been in the Army for 9 months. He was put on 24/7 deployment standby yesterday. This is all hard to deal with. That's, and that's part of what I've been thinking about as we've been watching Iran strike, Israel strike, Iran retaliating. For me, I was thinking about those 5 young men who stood up at the Maple Grove High School graduation with my son last week and those 5 young men who are going off to serve in the military. And another good friend of mine who was a producer at Channel 4, now she's at Channel 11, her son has enlisted. And I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with any young woman or young man who steps up and says, I want to serve my country. And the last thing I want to see is those young men and women sent out to deal with this. Lots of texts coming in. I'll share some of your texts when we come back, because I think we're all like, look, none of us are well, maybe there's a Middle East expert. None of us are experts in Iran, right? Like, I'm not going to come on this show and be like, well, let me lay out the 3-point reason why Benjamin Netanyahu is right and do it. Well, I don't know. All I know is it is a time of volatility in our community, in our country, in our world. And seeing this, I don't know, it's not what I needed. Not to make it all about me, but isn't that sort of how you feel when you watch this going on? 651-461-9226. Your comments, lots coming in on text. Also in the live stream, you can weigh in on X, on Facebook, on YouTube at the WCCO radio account. Drive Time on a Friday, back in a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Maybe you need to go to Certix. It's Jason here for a great family-owned business. I've been emailing today with my friend Taylor Certic, who was so kind to donate an amazing package for our Beat Blood Cancer radio auction. They're just good people. When you think about who you're going to spend your money with, I say look to family-owned local businesses that have been getting it done forever. And the Certic family is on the 4th generation because they just love our community. Now, it is Father's Day weekend, and I just went to Certix.com because they got a rosé sale going on throughout their store. Everything is 15% off. Well, they just for Father's Day are doing a flash sale for dads. Every California Cabernet and every single malt is on sale. Pretty good. This weekend only. So already more than 100 rosés are on sale. They put 240 more bottles on sale, including one of my favorites, the Field Recordings Cabernet Sauvignon from Paso Robles, which is a beautiful California wine. Camus is on sale. Mathiasen, another terrific Napa Valley cab. Lots of great stuff on sale. So get to Certix. University and Hennepin, plenty of free parking, and you can shop online at Certix.com.
When a tree crashes onto your roof, it's not just damage, it's chaos. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Call Brian Job of Job Brothers Construction. As a local, family-owned business based in Minnetonka, Job Brothers offers same-day emergency service across the Twin Cities. From the moment disaster hits to the final shingle nailed down, Brian and his team handle it all, start to finish. They'll work directly with your insurance companies. You don't have to play middleman or worry about what's covered and what's not. They take care of everything: roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and they do it with the kind of care you'd expect from a neighbor, not just a contractor. It's why so many Minnesotans trust them after the storm is past. Don't wait. Schedule your no-obligation full inspection now at jobbrothersconstruction.com. That's J-O-B-E, Job Brothers Construction. They get the job done right.
Hi, it's Vanita, and we know how great the John Schuster Group is, but it's wonderful to hear from people who have benefited from that relationship. One of them is Ray from Minnetonka. Ray, thanks so much for joining us. Why did you choose the John Schuster Group?
At our first meeting with Tim and Abby Lehman, we clicked right away.
What was your experience like selling your home with the John Schuster Group?
It was incredibly simple. Our first day on the market, we got our first offer, and I was like, wow, we did get multiple offers, but we went with the first offer we got on Friday.
Okay, bottom line, why should every WCCO listener contact the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty, when it's time to move?
From the moment they walked into our home, we had nothing to worry about with them. We're just beyond our expectations. We just can't thank them enough.
952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Jason DeRusha.
He's representing the state, everything. He should be a model citizen.
On News Talk 830, WCCO.
Lots of reaction coming in as we watch these strikes. Politically, President Donald Trump has praised Israel. We've seen Democrats and Republicans supporting Israel's right to defend itself, and supporting Israel's right for going after the fact that Iran still has nuclear weapons. It all really I don't know, for me, this is like such a flashback, Dan, to being in elementary school when we were all talking about mutually assured destruction, nuclear strategy. It was Gorbachev, Reagan.
Yeah.
And these issues are still the same over who should be allowed to have nuclear weapons. What's different is Benjamin Netanyahu, of course, has shown that he is not one to back down from a fight.
Well, and one to, pick fights. Because, remember, he's got court cases hanging over his head.
That's right.
And as long as he's fighting wars, then they're not going to take him out of power. And as long as he's in power, he can't be prosecuted by the courts. So there's sort of this circular logic going on in Israeli politics. Yeah, does Israel have the right to defend itself? Absolutely, it does. And Iran has said flat out, if we get nukes, we're launching them at Israel. I mean, that's their first target.
Right.
So, and yet, do I have a whole lot of trust for the current regime that's running the country of Israel? No. So I don't know what. I'm kind of with you. It's sort of this weird. I don't know what to make of this, and that makes it even a little more frightening.
Yeah, I mean, it's very overwhelming to try to figure out, like, all right, like, why did they do this now? Like, the conspiratorial among you are saying this is no coincidence. Says a texter. It's all cold, calculated, and funded. I mean, it's possible that Israel was just, when they were ready. And they fired their initial strikes were at all of these nuclear sites that have been hidden in mountains, some of this other stuff in Iran. So they've hit, 200 some targets trying to dismantle Iran's ability to make nuclear weapons. I just worry that we'll get sucked into it. And already the United States has said, yep, we were involved in some of the missile defense efforts, striking down some of the Iranian missiles that were shot at Israel. And we have troops in that area already.
The administration tried to make it very, very clear that they were not involved in the attack on Iran. But as Iran launched missiles back towards Israel, the United States apparently helped in the defense of that, which, like you said, we've got people over there, and that makes a certain amount of sense. But it does, in a sense, it opens the door to drawing you into this conflict, because obviously Israel's an ally. And so if this gets too bad, are we duty bound to go over there and help them? I don't know, but that's the fear.
It is the fear. And I think, in fairness to Donald Trump, where we've seen like a willingness to engage the military, right? An almost, frankly, an unprecedented willingness to call out American troops to California when nobody in California wanted that. the governor, the mayor, the police chief. And the Trump administration has been very outspoken in saying, like, look, we're not waiting for another George Floyd riot situation. If something happens, we're sending troops in. We're not. That's what we're doing.
They've also been fairly outspoken over time about not getting involved in foreign
That's
wars and activities. So.
exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
That they, even as recent as this past week, we learned that American troops that were stationed in the Middle East were sort of being repositioned and moved out. Now, does this change with something so high profile? I don't know. I do think if you look at what Donald Trump's main ethos is, it is, I don't want to get involved in the rest of the world. So perhaps that should make me feel a little better that we're not going to get sucked into this thing.
And he also immediately, his initial statement after the initial Israeli attack was to try and leverage it to get Iran to agree to a nuclear deal. See, this is, you got to be art of the deal here. We got to make a deal.
Right.
Because if you don't, this is going to keep happening. And, I don't see Iran coming to the table anytime soon after this, but.
How do you think this affects what's going to happen tomorrow? How does this play into the fact that around the country there's going to be protests? I was going to ask you guys what you think about it being called No King's Day, because generally speaking, I think American voters have rejected this idea that, when you call Donald Trump a fascist or when you call Donald Trump a king, that generally speaking, Americans have said, like, you guys are being a little over the top. And so No King's Day, I just wonder, obviously the Trump haters love it. The Trump lovers hate it. I wonder what sort of the kind of people who maybe would have voted for a Democrat who voted for Trump this time around, some of those swing voters that turned things around. I wonder how this plays for regular people or the non-super involved, right? And we'll talk coming up at 5 o'clock. We're going to talk a little bit about what the non-super involved people think about the protests that we've seen in the military response. And it's sort of different from people like you and, frankly, people who are listening to this show who are probably a little more engaged than most. I don't know what people think about it. Calling Trump a king, part of me looks at the way the presidency has been reshaped, and says the issue is that Congress doesn't do crap.
Right.
So is that, Joe Biden had a ton of executive orders and overstepped his bounds and was overruled by court. Now, Donald Trump, of course, took it to a next Trumpy level. But is that, and then also, I have a theory that Americans love the idea of being ruled by a king. That there's something that, and I don't mean to exactly make this into like a parallel of like having daddy issues, but there's sort of like a pre-colonial England related daddy issues that we have as a nation.
Well, you just talked about all the chaos and the unrest in the world and in the country, right? And what's a very natural human reaction to that kind of uncertainty and chaos and confusion? Look to somebody who projects strength to come fix it all.
Yeah.
That kind of strongman argument. And
I don't love it, but I'm just saying I observe it, right?
it.
And I understand it, that times are chaotic. And so then you look at some of the actions of this administration where they seem to create chaos so they can be the ones to solve it. Classic. I worked with a guy like that. His name was Arthur. We've all worked with somebody like that, right? They're always there to solve the problem, but oh wait, don't they also seem to be the one that created the problem? How about that? Let's break. It's 3:31. It is Friday. We're going to have some fun. Dan is prepared to geek out. This is your chance to vote on something very nerdy that Dan Cook has gotten excited about. Dan is going to geek out, and you will vote. Do I give it the green light or the gong? I'll get you ready. The number to call in is 651-461-9226, or you can comment in any of the comment sections where our video is streaming live here on Drive Time.
It's the Afternoon Ride with Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Your labs are troubling. Blood pressure's fine, but your local news levels tanked. 0 breaking news in the bloodstream, and you haven't heard a weather update since last Thursday? Your WCCO levels are dangerously low. I'm writing you a prescription. 3 hours of drive time with DeRusha, then Henry Lake until bedtime. And take 2 weather forecasts, just to be safe.
Side effects may include being the most informed person in the room. Binge the broadcasts at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Heading out for the weekend? Lucky you!
Don't forget to stop at Thieler Meats of Piers for some melt-in-your-mouth moments.
High-quality beef.
Fresh and smoked sausages and brats.
Home-smoked bacon.
All-natural chicken.
A great selection of fish and seafood.
Visit us at thielermeats.com.
We've got the cuts that'll make your meal.
Call to order ahead and pick up on your way to the lake.
You'll be the hit of the party.
No meals complete without Thieler Meats
of Piers.
Thinking about buying or selling a business, the right legal team makes all the difference. At Helmuth & Johnson, our team specializes in sophisticated mergers and acquisitions, guiding you through every negotiation, contract, and closing with skill and precision. From due diligence to deal structuring, we are 100% client-focused, protecting your interests so you can focus on success. Big or small, we make complex transactions seamless. Visit hjlawfirm.com. That's hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side, for all of your business needs.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
612 Saturdays are back at Target Field. Enjoy $6 drinks, $1 snacks, and $2 food when gates open.
I'm from the 952. Can I enjoy 612 Saturdays?
The 952 is welcome.
I'm from the 218.
218, 651. Everyone is welcome at 612 Saturdays.
I'm from the 313. How about me?
That's Detroit.
Yeah.
Sure. Enjoy the weekend wind-up with 612 Saturdays presented by Carbliss. $6 drinks, $1 snacks, and $2 food. When we're together, the Twins rise as one. Join in at twins.com/tickets.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Some wet roads out there, a little bit of rain to go with it on your drive this afternoon. Get ready for that and give yourself a little extra time. Make sure you're buckled up and the headlights are on. Watching slowdowns 494 northbound as you come up from Bass Lake Road into the Fish Lake Interchange. West 94 slows Hemlock Lane to County Road 30 on the south side of the Metro. 35W southbound. That slows across the Minnesota River Bridge heading down to the Burnsville Parkway. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Rainy day, isn't it? Let's see if the whole weekend's going to be that way with Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Just a few isolated showers tonight will hang in the low. Tomorrow should be dry for most of the day, mostly cloudy with a high of 73. Some showers will pop late, and we'll have a chance of scattered showers on Father's Day. Shouldn't be a washout. A high of 80. You'll notice it's going to get humid. It stays humid next week with rounds of rain Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Right now, it is cloudy, not raining in downtown Minneapolis. It is 60 degrees.
Let's roll with more of Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. Start the clock. Dan Cook now has 3 minutes to geek out on something. And you get to text in with a vote on whether it's halfway interesting or if the topic should never again be brought up in public. Again. Nerd alert! Let's set things up for this edition of Dan Geeks Out.
All right, here we go. The premise is that Dan Cook is a nerd. And
proudly so.
Yes, why not?
Embrace it.
There is a topic that you find fascinating that you don't know if we will find fascinating. And so it's up to the listeners.
Yep.
Do you give it the green light? The green light, which sounds much like this, or do you give it the gong? The gong, which, so that's your choice. Green light or gong. Dan will get 3 minutes.
We got a timer this week, so I'm really on.
You're on the clock.
I'm on the clock here. So.
You can leave your comment on Facebook, on YouTube, or on X, or text us at 651-461-9226. Here you go. Dan Cook, your time starts now.
Jason, it was announced yesterday. We're getting a sequel to the movie Spaceballs. Yes, 38 years ago, sci-fi was set on its head by the parody of all parodies, Spaceballs. And now, 38 years later, we're finally getting a sequel. Now, I'll admit, when I first heard this news, wow, I got noisy in a hurry. When I first heard this news, I was a little suspicious, right? Sure. Because it was a fun movie. There's nostalgia to it.
It's a terrible
kind
movie.
of a cult classic at this point. Why can't we just leave good things alone? It's kind of what I'm worried about.
So bad.
And then I thought more about it, and I thought, especially if you watch the announcement video, it was so good. It was so good because they list all of the Star Wars and all the other sci-fi stuff that have happened in the past 38 years, and just the sheer ridiculousness of it, right? The prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, the sequel to the prequel to the sequel, movie spinoff of a TV series that was both a sequel and a prequel. There was Dune movies and Jurassic Park movies, all these. So they have all of this material to work with and parody in this movie. And Mel Brooks is a certified comedic genius, right? Now, he didn't write this script. He's not as directly involved with this movie as he was with the first film. He is going to be in the movie. Yogurt is coming back.
Green light or gong. We're about a minute and a half in. 651-461-9226.
Bill Pullman, who played Lone Star, is back. Rick Moranis, who hasn't been in a movie in I don't know how long, is back as Dark Helmet. They've got another actress that they've announced, but they won't say what. It's very, very hush-hush as to what kind of character she's playing. Wasn't in the original film. All kinds of stuff that make you think, actually, this could be pretty good. This could be the best parody movie of all time.
Oh my God, no.
That's what I'm expecting. That's the bar I'm setting.
No way.
This could be
no way. Here come the appropriate reaction.
Come on. It was hilarious. But now, obviously, we've lost John Candy. He's not going to be around, and he was an integral part of that movie. May God rest his soul. Dick Van Patten, who wasn't as integral to the movie, has left us. So there's some, big characters that aren't going to be there. But the fact that Mel Brooks shows up in this video with Spaceballs, the sweatshirt on.
We got 4 gongs, 3 green lights so far, 1 green light on social media. You're still in this thing.
So
inexplicably.
Now, if you recall in the first film, there's a line about, hopefully we all meet again in Spaceballs 2, the search for more cash.
Yeah.
Because they're making fun of the way that these things have been commercialized. I will be very disappointed if they don't actually title this movie Spaceballs 2, the search for more cash. I mean, it's sitting right there. Why wouldn't you do it?
Gone.
What's the matter? Come on now, people. This was a classic.
Stop.
This is a classic.
Stop, please, says one of the texters.
It was a great film. It was a great film, and I'm looking forward to it. And my 3 minutes are up.
Well, there it is. Green light or gong. And the gongs have it. And I didn't even get to vote. And the gongs.
You'd have gonged the heck out of that one.
I get multiple votes.
Yes, you do.
Because it's my show. I thought the original Spaceballs. Now, you have to bear in mind that at this phase of my life, like I didn't have much patience for like dumb humor. I was a very serious lad.
Yeah, you really do have to appreciate dumb jokes.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Right.
Was that not?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Force, it was the Schwartz. It was rings, not lightsabers. And it was so good. It was so good. Rick Moranis was phenomenal in that movie. He was so funny.
The textures say no.
I'm excited. So 2027 is the scheduled release date for the movie. I'm very excited. Very happy.
Are you going to go see this movie?
1,000%.
Really?
I mean, I'm probably not like, opening night Friday kind of, but I'll go see it. 100%. I will go.
Well, you're not going to go on opening night, but you're going to try to convince our listeners that this is going to be the greatest sequel of all time.
I never go on opening night to a movie. It's too many people. Can't do it.
Is there a sequel out there, like a movie that never had a sequel, where you would say, like, it is perfect as is, do not ever make a sequel?
Titanic.
Yeah, I mean, the sequel to Titanic.
We just actually saw it a couple of years ago. It didn't go well.
That was not a hit. I'm trying to think if there has been a movie where they were like, you know what, we're done. We're not, you know what I'm trying to say here? An unsequeled classic.
Honestly, Good Will Hunting. Great movie, great cast. It was set up where they could have done a sequel if they wanted to, and they just didn't. They just said, no, that was a good movie. We're just going to leave it like it is.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
I'm looking this up quickly. The Simpsons movie never had a sequel.
Benjamin on YouTube says, dude, where's my car?
Yeah, that's probably correct. Annie Hall, Citizen Kane. Now, could you imagine Citizen Kane 2? Now, by your metric, there should be no Spaceballs 2 because Spaceballs itself was so good.
Well, and that's why I said my initial reaction was, oh, no, can't we just leave it alone?
Princess Bride.
Yeah.
E.T. There was never an E.T. Texture asking, Jason, didn't you like Dumb and Dumber? No.
I love Dumb and Dumber.
Too dumb.
But I didn't like Dumb and Dumber 2. That's the thing. If you a lot of these where there's gaps, right? There was a big gap in between those two movies. Coming to America 2 kind of stunk, but the original was hilarious. When you have these huge gaps between movies, your hope is, hey, we finally found a story that's good enough to come back and do the sequel. The fear is somebody go, you know what? We need some money. Where can we go and try to find some money? Oh, we'll go, filch the people that love this original movie and just do something stupid that doesn't matter, but they'll come see it.
Schindler's List.
No, not
sequel.
Not really a sequel type movie, but
Pulp Fiction.
Also difficult.
Pretty much ended in a, I don't want to spoil it. No spoilers.
I think we're beyond the statute of limitations on that.
Yeah. Was there a Ferris Bueller's sequel?
I don't think so.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off 2. No.
Was it really?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, if there was, it was so bad that nobody remembers it.
There is a spinoff in the works, I read. There's a spinoff that they were working on in 2024 called Sam and Victor's Day Off, who are the parking garage attendants who took the Ferrari for a joyride.
Oof. Can't imagine why that didn't get greenlit.
Yeah. They picked a director.
Yeah. Okay.
but as far as I can tell, Hunt for Red October, no sequel. True. Breakfast Club.
No, but there technically was a sequel to Hunt for Red October. Clear and Present Danger was Tom Clancy's storyline. That was a sequel to Hunt for Red October. So,
Patriot Games also was part of the series.
Patriot Games was in there. Yep.
Yeah, I guess that counts. Breakfast Club, though, no.
No, nothing there.
Schindler's List doesn't need a sequel, says the text.
Well, I think that's
clearly. That's
kind of what was implied.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
We can't make shit. What is wrong with this world? I thought woke was dead. I thought we were allowed to make Schindler's List. It's a Schindler's List movie sequel joke.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's the joke.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Oh, very good. Oh, someone comes in late with a green light for
There you go.
Too late,
No,
doesn't count.
How close was it? At least close.
It was pretty close.
All right, but I did get gonged. I'll be happy.
Our boss really wants. Do you think he likes the sound effects? Do you think we could get a budget to get like an actual gong?
Nope.
Where I could be like,
you can just stop after budget. Do you think we could get a budget?
We used to have a timpani at this station, didn't we? For
no, we didn't have it at the station. One of the former Brain Wizards owned one and brought it in, but it was his. It wasn't the station.
People are so weird. So weird. That was Dan Cook Geeks Out. I enjoyed it. Nice work.
Spaceballs, the sequel, folks.
We'll be back next Friday with, this may be the permanent, we may just dump Three disasters and a puppy for this.
You might.
In a moment, I have a story of 3 pizzas and a goat, which is similar to 3 disasters and a puppy, except not at all. We'll talk about my trip to Sherburne County, Minnesota, and the pizza farm in just a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chad back here with you on CCO. Once again, talking about my friends with Aquarius Home Services. That's AquariusHomeservices.com. A customer, not kidding, for 30 plus years. Quality water is so important in our lives. I trust them. What a deal they're offering right now. 25% off a new Connecticut system and schedule your free water analysis. Find out what you have. It's worth it. The best in the business, AquariusHomeservices.com.
When it's time to sell a collection of gold, silver, valuable coins, or jewelry, who do you trust? American Rare Coin and Collectibles in Bloomington specializes in evaluating and purchasing valuable collections quickly, clearly, and with immediate payment. For over 30 years, families, trustees, and professionals have relied on American Rare Coin for transparent pricing and straightforward service. Located on American Boulevard, we make complex decisions simple and valuable assets easy to liquidate. Schedule your appointment today at AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies? Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness. We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, good boy. Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try Maintain X for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain and the letter X.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow at South 169, Anderson Lakes Parkway down to 101. Traveling the crosstown eastbound run, you're going to find it slow. Tracy heading over to Penn Avenue. Southbound 35W slowing to move past 46th Street into the crosstown commons. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Go online before you go outside. HilltopCamper.com has what you need. We're here for new and used. We're here for service. We're here for the outdoors. Above all, HilltopCamper.com is here to help you and your loved ones make memories. HilltopCamper.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Hilltop Camper and RV. Well, it's going to be a weird couple of days. Our weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer shows isolated showers. Isolated showers possible tonight. Looking at the live radar, yeah, it's raining. Oh, man. It's raining everywhere except the metro. There's sort of like a little dome over the 494 loop. Low of 52. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Rain will be late, high of 73. And Father's Day is going to be warmer, more like 80 degrees, but don't plan on grilling out and being outside the whole time. You might need to have those pork chops under an umbrella. 80 is the high. Right now, it's 60 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
20 plus years of being a news anchor and reading teleprompters your whole career, and then somebody gives you an opportunity to just say what you really think, and you just get unhinged and you just go for it.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Took a drive last night out to a pizza farm. So you may have heard of this. This is a bit of a trend that has been popping up over the last couple of years. Farmers or people who have like a hobby farm that has become an event center or wedding space or whatever. There's a place in Princeton called the Alpha and Omega Farm, and they invited me out to try the pizza and experience the pizza farm. So Dan was nice enough to put up with me doing the show yesterday from the basement closet. And first of all, let me tell you, Dan, when is the last time you have been? Now, you were camping, so you're in Greater Minnesota.
Yes.
But when we were driving up 169, the humor of the billboard sort of changes as you get out of the immediate metro.
Yes, that's very much true.
Like it's a lot of contractors making sort of like sex jokes.
Yep.
Get nailed with, this sort of stuff. And I'm like, oh man, like there's
okay.
Like that's bold. That is bold. So we drive up to the farm and it was awesome. It was so good. The pizzas were phenomenal. The people who own the farm, Kim and Brad Hayes. Kim spent 30 years working for Dayton's and Marshall Fields and was in food. So she helped a bunch of celebrity chefs open little restaurants and that. So, she's culinary. Brad was firing the the pizzas. It was really cool. But they asked me if I wanted to feed a goat because they have a bunch of goats out there.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
So if you're watching on the stream at YouTube right now, WCCO Radio, you can see a picture of me feeding a goat with a bottle. And this goat was so damn excited. And, you know, the goat's name was Maple. And she was satisfied.
She was enthusiastic.
She was very enthusiastic. They had hand sanitizer nearby, so we were good to go. So I could get back to eating the pizza. And, you know, maybe the goat needed a hand sanitizer after the experience. Everybody needed a smoke, I think.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
For 50 years, Newgate School has been serving the Twin Cities community by providing automotive training for young adults, job placement, and support for single mothers with reliable cars. That calls for a celebration. Join us August 2nd for an epic car show, food trucks, live music, awards, and activities for the whole family. Celebrate 50 years of Newgate and a world of difference. Visit newgateschool.org for details.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Meet Viant AI, the world's first fully autonomous advertising platform. With Viant AI, you can automate media planning, analyze results, and drive smarter decisions, all while saving you time and resources. Viant AI helps you unlock new potential and boost productivity regardless of your expertise. Visit Viant.ai today and see how the future of artificial intelligence in advertising can work for you.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Accidents don't follow a playbook, but Postman Law has the winning strategy. We've helped clients recover over $3 billion by delivering personal attention and real results. Call 844-POSTMAN today, because when life throws you a curve, Postman delivers the compensation you deserve. Offices, Minneapolis.
News that matters. Conversations that count. News Talk 830 WCCO. 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Christopher Cruz. Israel has responded to Iran firing ballistic missiles at it with a new attack. CBS News contributor Robert Berger in Jerusalem says Israel got important help intercepting those Iranian missiles.
We do have confirmation now from the Israeli defense minister that the U.S. was involved in helping down some of these missiles that were fired from Iran. And that's what we've seen now. This is the third Iranian attack on Israel.
President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke by phone today. CBS's Olivia Gazis says for now, Israel has confined its attacks to Iranian military targets. But
if the Israelis do start to target other types of Iranian infrastructure, financial institutions, or things of that nature, if it goes beyond the nuclear program, then that risks broadening the conflict in general, because the Iranians will aim to retaliate in similar fashion.
The UN nuclear chief says Israeli strikes have destroyed the above-ground portion of Iran's main nuclear facility. CBS News business reporter Jason Brooks says the conflict has pushed oil prices up and stocks down.
U.S. benchmark crude soared higher by about $5 to its highest level since January, while stocks were under heavy pressure from the Israel-Iran conflict. 25% of the world's crude supplies are shipped through the Strait of Hormuz. and are vulnerable to potential Iranian.
California, southern Nevada, and a large part of Arizona are in for a stretch of extreme heat, says CBS News correspondent Jim Crisula.
High temperatures will be between 105 and 110 degrees for several days in places including metro areas of Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tucson. Sergio Armendariz with the Phoenix Rescue Mission has been on the streets checking on the homeless in the intense heat.
Oh, it's brutal. Some people call it an oven, just with the concrete. The sun's, it's dangerous, and it's really brutal out here.
Temperatures will be well above 100 degrees every day for the next week in Death Valley, California. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Marines in full combat gear have deployed as ordered to the nation's second largest city, says CBS's Nydia Cavazos.
200 Marines are moving into Los Angeles to protect federal property and personnel, joining National Guard troops there. But the head of the military operation emphasized they will not participate in law enforcement activities.
The Dow closed down almost 2% today. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour on the hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's cloudy and 55 degrees at 4:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. Rain looks to be in the forecast tonight and over the next several days, with some areas possibly seeing 5 to 6 inches. Tyler Hasenstein's with the National Weather Service in the Twin Cities.
I would say it's a possibility, but as far as the areal extent, that would only happen from multiple rounds of thunderstorms, which at this point, we're probably looking at late Sunday through maybe midday Tuesday. The area extent would be fairly small, so there might be some localized flooding, but as far as widespread flooding goes, that appears less likely.
He says the area with the most risk right now would be north of the Twin Cities from St. Cloud to northern Wisconsin. The National Listening Tour on Veterans Issues made a stop today in Bloomington.
The People's Town Hall at the Everett McClay VFW post focused on critical policy discussions concerning veterans' health care and financial support. It's a topic that made some veterans emotional.
My question is, how do we stop Trump from eliminating 83,000 jobs?
Guest speaker, former VA Secretary Dennis McDonough, zeroed in on the Trump administration's policy changes that he says are failing veterans.
And I hope we'll also see that the administration starts publishing again your trust assessments of them. For some reason, we've not seen the new trust scores since December of 2024.
In Bloomington, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Another major road shutdown is coming to the Twin Cities this weekend.
Interstate 94 will be closed in both directions between Interstate 35W and Huron Boulevard from 10 tonight through Monday morning. MnDOT spokesperson Ken Barnard says crews will be making repairs to bridges. He also says, despite what it seems like, there are not more construction projects this year.
What you might be seeing is we do seem to have some more higher profile projects with greater impacts on traffic. You look at Crosstown 62, we've got some closures that have been happening on there. We've had closures on Interstate 35W. We've had closures on Highway 10 up in Coon Rapids.
And of course, work on 494 continues. I-94 in Minneapolis has been down to 2 lanes between 11th Avenue South and Franklin Avenue Southeast since early April. The $16 million project is scheduled to be finished in November. Al Schock, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And it's been a long 2 years for Minnesota Gophers women's guard Mara Braun. Despite being limited to just 25 games the last 2 years because of a broken foot, Braun is now healthy and is one of 21 players trying out for the 2025 USA Women's Basketball America Tournament.
USA Basketball always talks about the gold standard and what that means, and holding yourself to a different standard and knowing that you're representing more than just you, your family, your university. You're representing the country as a whole. So wearing that on your chest, it's not taken lightly.
Tryouts begin June 17th in Colorado Springs. It's 4:06 News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
North 494's make way toward Bass Lake Road. Got some slowdowns there that continue up into the Fish Lake interchange. And then West 94 itself is on the slow side from 494, heading up to 610. North 169 Bass Lake Road, crash working right side. If you're still in the area, if y'all could also find slowdowns north 169 as you come up from Highway 62 to Minnetonka Boulevard. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the centennial year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's been a dreary Friday the 13th. Isolated showers possible overnight. Will fall back to the low 50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. We should be dry for the most part with rain showers popping late. 73 the high. Scattered showers are possible on Father's Day. You'll notice it's going to get a little humid with a high up near 80. We'll have rounds of rain through the first few days next week.
Thank you, Chris. Cloudy 55. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Consistently current, persistently thought-provoking. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
All right, Drive Time on the air on a rainy Friday. I'm sick of the rain. Aren't you guys sick of the rain? My sump pump tonight, it's like a symphony coming from my basement. Too much. It's time for Card DeSharks. 651-461-9226. I need 2 contestants. If you watch us on YouTube, I put up the phone number early. So if you ever want a head start on calling into Card DeSharks and playing our game at 651-461-9226, I put it on the video stream early. So you can get in on the action and play our game. So pretty good. Mark Fry is going to help us out today. Mark, people can watch this on video, but where I currently have the camera over there, it's pretty much a shot of your really very in-shape chest. So congratulations.
I did some push-ups right after the
ready
news.
to go?
I know it's going to be on the film.
Rainy weekend. Any big plans for the Fry family?
No.
Celebrating Father's Day.
I don't know.
This is your first Father's Day,
Yeah, first
right?
official. So yeah, I don't think we have a lot going on Sunday. It's just going to be rainy all weekend, so we'll figure something out. But
did you celebrate Father's Day when your wife was pregnant?
No, we didn't. No, I don't think so. Maybe we just
it's like you're gonna be a father.
Recognized it.
I guess. I'm not a supporter.
You certainly could, but
no, you can't.
No, you can't. Okay.
And if you're like, do men do this the way women do on Mother's Day, where like if you're a dog mom, you get a stupid card? Like,
I have never recognized that, but if that's what people want to do, that's what they want to do.
No, there is a meaning to words. The word father and mother does not mean.
But what if you can't have kids?
Well, then you don't get that holiday. Okay. I don't know. Everybody has to have every holiday. What if you're not Christian? You don't get Christmas. I don't know.
People still do.
Yeah. Well, you could celebrate the secular side of it, I suppose. I don't know. I like this debate.
You want to keep digging this hole, or you want to move on?
No.
Just keep the mic on. Let him go.
I'm happy to dig this hole. This is one of the dumb hills that I will die on. But we have 2 contestants ready to rock. So let's do it. Let's play Card DeSharks. Come on. I wind up for it.
I even guessed like 2 seconds
It's
early.
hard to imagine that the Apple IIc that we have running our control room isn't. That's a great reference, by the way. It's Father's Day weekend, and today's cold and wet, so celebrate Dad unless you forget. It's also a day to play our dear game. It's fun, and it's free, and it's never the same on Card DeSharks. How about that? Kristen Olsen. Rip from the headlines. Always rip for the headlines. The Card DeSharks poem. We have 2 contestants on the line playing for a $50 gift card at one of the Gesture Concepts restaurants. We say hello to Colette in Dayton. Hi, Colette. How are you?
Good. A little damp, but
Yeah.
good.
Do you have a sump pump at your house?
No, we don't need one.
Oh, you don't need one.
We have leaf guard gutters.
Oh, would you like to do a commercial for them right now? That sounds pretty.
I would. I love them. I
Oh.
love them.
All right. We'll tell Andy Lindis. He'll be happy to hear that. Yeah.
Well, and we have a Lindis roof. We have Lindis windows, and love them.
Sounds paid for at the moment.
This is Colette. Your last name isn't Lindis, are you?
No.
Oh, too bad. The Lindises are actually very nice. They came on my Andy Lindis's parents came on my vacation trip to Canada. Yeah.
Wow.
They were super nice. Super nice. All right, stand by, Colette, because your competitor is in a pretty close suburb to you. Say hi to Emmy in St. Michael. Hi, Emmy.
Hello.
How are things in St. Michael today? Wet?
Yeah, wet. Same.
Yeah. I'm kind of over it. I'm a little over all the rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't do all the fun activities when it's raining.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I would like to be sitting on the patio. I would like to be doing yard work. It's just like a pile of mud in my backyard right now. No good. Well, you're both playing for a $50 gift card to Gesture Concepts Restaurants. You can go to their newest restaurant in Edina. It's called Starling. It'll make you feel like you're on a tropical vacation. There's so many plants in there and greenery, and they have a nice passport menu right now with specials, and they're doing Caribbean food. So kind of you go on a little vacation there at Starling. But Gesture is the company behind Parlor and Butcher and the Boar and PS Steak and lots of great restaurants. So we appreciate them. Colette and Emmy, here's how we play. We start with a survey of 100 people. Colette will give the first answer, which will be a number between 0 and 100. Emmy will say higher or lower, and then we go off to the board. It's that simple. And Colette, you get the first question. Are you ready?
Let's go.
We asked 100 first graders, should Captain America be president? How many first graders said, yep, Captain America should be the president? I don't know. When I was in first grade, I think maybe I thought Captain America was the president. I don't know.
Who is he? Oh, no, never mind. I don't know. 63.
60.
I have no idea.
That's a 5.
3.
You know what? You take a guess. Why not? Colette says 63. Emmy, do you think it's higher or lower?
Well, I have a recent first grade graduate. I think I'm going to say lower.
All right. Emmy, did you have a graduation party for graduating first grade?
No.
All right, good. Very good. Glad to hear that. All right. The actual answer, actual number of first graders who said Captain America should be president. You're not going to believe this, but Colette, it is 63. Right.
Wow.
Right on the button.
Whoa.
Dang. It's pretty good, Colette.
Have you ever had that happen before?
Only once. I can remember one other
I remember
time.
people getting really, really close.
You were off.
Okay, well, there you go.
So it doesn't really count. Dan
Clearly.
was off. It doesn't count. Colette, you nailed it. So you get to pick. Mark Fry is going to flip the cards for us. Do you want the red cards or the blue cards?
Let's go blue.
All right, blue cards, says Colette. And your first card is an 8. An 8, Colette. Because you got the question right, you get to change the card if you want. I would be tempted with an 8, but it's up to you. What do you want to do, Colette?
Higher.
All right, she's going to go for it. Higher than an 8? It is a 6. It's lower. Emmy, free shot at the cards for you. Mark's going to flip over your opening card, and it's a 4. You get a 4. You cannot change the card because you didn't get the question, but what do you want to do with that, Emmy? Higher or lower than a 4?
I'll go higher.
Higher than a 4? It is a jack. It is higher. And now you can freeze at any point. Well, you're kind of playing with house money here. You want to go higher or lower than that jack?
I'll go lower.
All right, lower than a jack. It's a 2. Oh, my goodness. Emmy is off and running here already at a 2. You only have 2 cards separating you and victory, Emmy. You want to go higher or lower than the 2?
I'm going to go higher.
Why not? Higher than a 2. It is. It's an 8, and now you have a decision to make. Those 8s are tricky. You're going to freeze. Yeah, no real difficult decision there. Emmy freezes on the 8. And the next question goes to you, Emmy. We asked 100 people, have you ever pretended to be sick to get out of a family event? How many people said yes? Emmy, what do you think? Would you ever do such a thing?
Depends on what family.
Fair enough.
I'm going to say 48.
48, says Emmy. All right. Colette, would you ever claim to be sick to get out of a family event?
I would.
You would, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Why not?
I think it's fine. Mark, you look shocked and offended.
I just feel like the whole sickness, there's a karma that comes with that. And it's Friday the 13th, so I can't say that.
It's true. Today would be...
don't do it today.
Yeah, don't do it today. Don't do it today. Very good. What do you think? Colette, higher or lower than 48? That's what Emmy said.
Higher.
All right, Colette says higher. Just terrible people. Just all these terrible. Colette and Emmy seem so nice, and then you hear they're just a couple of liars to get out of family events. The music is going, which means we're going to break. We'll find out if it is higher or lower when we come back on Card DeSharks.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason here for Livia Weight Control Centers. And this weekend, as we deal with the rain and the bad weather, maybe it's a good chance for you to think about the summer that's ahead, the shape you want to be in, the health you want to be in. Livia can help you meet your goals. This summer, it's all about real results without sacrifices. I joined Livia in the summer. And just got cooking, man. You get started, you start losing weight, you feel better, you keep going, you keep dedicated. For me, I lost 45 pounds, and I've kept all that weight off for almost 3 years now, 2.5 years. I hit my goal around Christmas time. If you join Livia today, they're giving you 3 months free of their nutrition program, plus a free Lipo B12 injection to help boost your metabolism and energy. All sorts of new supplements they're offering there, trying to help with focus, help with energy, help with metabolism. Livia also offering medical weight loss options. Man, the GLP-1 medications have changed so many lives. And when you couple that with the power of Livia, oh, baby, now you're cooking. Those are starting at just $149, a great price. Enjoy your summer. Enjoy it. Stay on track. Feel your best. Livia can help you do it with expert support and the plan that fits your life. No sacrifices this summer, just results with Livia. Go to Livia.com. 3 months free. 855-GO Livia.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down, so I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life.
Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
DeRusha now returns on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, our fans online enjoying the video stream of Card DeSharks. We got Nikki right with Colette on this one. On the issue of calling out sick to a family gathering. I don't even call in sick to work when I'm not sick. Now, Mark Fry looking at that, he's like, well, let's not get carried away. Have you ever called in sick? Fake, Mark?
Well, not to work, I don't think so. I mean, like in college, there'd be a few days where you'd be like, I'm not feeling it, but really not work. Yeah. I just enjoy it so much.
Okay. All right.
It's my passion.
That was very believable. All right. The question was, have you ever pretended to be sick to get out of a family event? And Emmy in St. Michael said 48. Colette said higher. The actual number of people who said, yeah, I've pretended to be sick is 62. It is much higher. So Colette, good news for you. You are on that 8. And now you have a decision to make. You can change the 8 if you want, and we'll give you a new card, or you can go for it on the 8. What do you want to do, Colette?
Whoa, I don't know.
Can I give you some advice?
Yes.
So an 8 is probably the worst card to have. So you have earned the opportunity to change the card. You can't get much worse than an 8 with whatever Mark would flip. So if I were you, I would change the card. But you got to do what you want to do. I don't want to get blamed if this goes south.
Well, I'll change the card to...
Well, no, Mark is going to flip one, and we'll see what you get. What'd you do? Oh, the 8 becomes an ace. Look at that.
Oh, whoa, look at me.
That's a great change. That's a great change.
It is.
All right, so you've got the highest card available. You want to go higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than an ace. It is a 6. It is lower than an ace, and now we're cooking. You've got a 6. You can freeze to stop this process whenever you want, but you're on a 6. You want to go higher, lower, or freeze?
How many cards do I have left?
You have 3 more to go. 3 more to go.
Oh,
and Emmy
I'll
only
go
has
higher
1.
Then.
Yeah, you got to.
I'll go higher.
That's a good move. Higher than a 6. It is. It's a queen.
Whoa.
And, okay, here we go. You want to play it or you want to freeze? Higher or lower than a queen?
Lower.
Lower than a queen. It is a 4. And now you're 1 card away. 1 card away on a 4. Do you want to freeze and protect your progress, or do you want to go for it on a 4? Higher, lower, or freeze? What do you say?
I'm going to go for it higher.
All right. 1 card separating victory. Colette on a 4. High. She says higher. It is. Oh, no. It's a 3.
No.
Oh, no. You hate it. You hate to see it.
No.
But you know who doesn't hate to see it? It's Emmy, who gets a free shot at a victory. Emmy, you're on an 8. It's a coin flip. You've got nothing to lose because you've frozen, so you won't lose anything here. Higher or lower than an 8?
Lower.
Lower than an 8. Oh, no, it's a 10. But that's all right. You just lose that 10. Mark will deal out some new cards. Our viewers on YouTube at the WCCO radio channel getting quite a show here as we reload. And Colette, the next question goes to you.
Okay.
Whoops. Hang on there. Mark's going to. It gets a little confusing. You only
Got
have
a little
to
aggressive.
She was frozen, so you only have to replace the 10. She had preserved. And that last card was an 8. There we go.
There we go.
You know, sometimes it's like on The Price is Right when you have the good-looking model and they just screw up the game. That's sort of the deal. Mark is just the eye candy of this game. What can you do? All right. Are you offended at that
No,
description
not
of
at
you?
all.
No, why would you be? If somebody would call me eye candy, it would make my absolute week.
It's the first time that's ever happened, so I'm very thankful for that.
Colette, the question goes to you. We surveyed 100 teenagers. Have you ever secretly looked through your parents' phone? Ooh. Oh, no. How many teenagers admitted that they have looked through their parents' phone?
Whoa. Oh, 47.
47, says Colette. Emmy, what do you think? Higher or do you have any teenagers, by the way?
No, my oldest is 8.
Oh, well, what a thrill you have to look forward to. That's for sure. All right. What did Colette said 47. Emmy, do you think it's higher or lower?
I think it's higher.
All right. Emmy says higher. Colette said 47. The actual number of teenagers who admitted that they've secretly looked through their parents' phone is 45.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Colette with a great guess, and it's a little lower. So, Colette, that's good news for you. You're on an ace. You've got 4 cards to turn, Colette. Can you do it? Can you do
I'm
it?
on an ace?
I believe in
ace?
you. You're on an ace.
An ace?
Yep.
Okay.
Higher or lower than the ace?
Lower.
Lower than the ace? It's a 7. Not great, but what are you going to do? Higher or lower, or do you want to freeze? We go to sudden death next, so I don't know. Do whatever you want. Higher or lower than a 7?
Higher.
Higher than a 7? It's a 4. Oh, goodness. The cards have been mean this time, that's for sure. But Emmy gets a free shot. Emmy, you're on the 8. It's the coin flip again. Higher or lower than an 8?
Oh, man. Lower.
Lower than an 8 it is. Oh, no, it's another 8. Mark Fry.
Wow. It's the game that will never end.
How does that? Well, I mean, I'd say what are the odds of that? But
there are.
You actually could very easily
none of us are good at
compute
math,
the
so.
odds of that. Yeah, it's 4 out of carry the 1. All right, get rid of the 8. Mark will replace that, and now we go to sudden death. The winner of this question gets to be the boss of either forcing the other person to go for it or they play. Here we go. We asked 100 office workers, Emmy, 100 office workers. Have you ever taken supplies home for personal use? How many office workers admitted they've done it out of 100? What do you say, Emmy?
68.
68. Colette, higher or lower than 68?
Higher.
Colette says higher. The actual number of office workers who admit taking supplies home is only 39. Only 39.
Oh.
So, Emmy, you have a decision to make. You can either pass or play. And here's the scenario. You're on an 8, but you got the question right. So you can change the 8 and then try to call 1 card. Or you can force Colette to absolutely run the table. She has 4 cards to flip. So do you want to play it or pass it?
What is she on right now?
She's on an ace, but she's got to go 4 cards to complete the whole thing.
I kind of like to be in my control of my own destiny, but 4 is a lot. I'm going to pass.
You know what? I think I would do the same thing.
That's a smart play, yeah.
But I usually want to be in control also. But I don't know what what is Mark going to turn over? Another 8? We don't know.
We don't know.
All right, Colette, you got to run the table. 4 cards to go. If you get it, you win. If you make a mistake, it goes to Emmy. Colette, you're on an ace. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than an ace? It is a king. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than a king? It is a 2. Uh-oh. Higher or lower than a 2?
Let me think here. Higher.
Colette goes higher, and it's an 8. Of course it's an 8. And here we are with one card separating you and $50. I feel like my heart is racing with this game. All right, Colette. Coin flip. Higher or lower than an 8 for the win?
Lower.
Lower than an 8. It is a jack. Oh, no. And
I thought you said ace.
Oh, it was an 8. And,
crud. All right.
I'm so sorry. What a great game. Emmy, you win. Colette, you were amazing. Whew.
Well, it was very fun. It's very fun.
You guys were
good job, Emmy.
Terrific.
Thanks, Colette. You too. Great job.
Great contestants. We got Emmy, who's going to stay on the line in St. Michael. Emmy, you win that $50 gift card to Gesture Concepts Restaurants. So enjoy it. Enjoy that gift card. We'll get it in the mail to you next week. Stay on the line. Dan will get your info.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Very fun.
It was tough. That was
tough.
Coming down to 2 8s. I think I would have switched the red 8, but
you would have. What would it have been if you changed the 8?
2.
It would have been a 2.
Yeah.
And then what's the last card? King.
Yeah.
All right, that would have worked too.
Yeah.
Either way, Emmy won. Although some controversy. Did my 8 not sound enough like an 8?
I thought you were pretty clear, but then again, I'm looking at it.
We're
so,
looking at it.
yeah.
Hard to know. Well, that's the way.
Roll the tapes.
Well, I don't know.
Replay.
I hope we don't have a lawsuit on our hands. We appreciate you both, Colette and Emmy. Thank you, Mark, for your help.
You're welcome.
We will break in just a minute. I want to talk about Father's Day and how much the role of a father has changed. How are you different from your dad? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. 651-461-9226. Drive Time coming back on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
No controversy when it comes to Chris Lindahl. It's Jason here for Chris Lindahl Real Estate, the arms out realtor. Chris is such a great dude. He helped me and my wife when we were searching for a home. He is always there stepping out to help the community, generous, kind. And right now, he is doing more guaranteed cash offers than ever before. It's amazing. What is the reason, right? Why? It's because the market is going crazy. You don't know what interest rates are going to be. The uncertainty is there with buyers who are flaking out at the last minute. Get yourself some certainty. If you go to chrislindahl.com, you can get a guaranteed cash offer today. It is no obligation. So find out what your home's worth. If you need to sell quickly, get to your closing date. You pick the moving date. Nobody better to help you out than Chris Lindahl. chrislindahl.com. Get there today. Terms and conditions may apply.
Saying what needs to be said.
They're falling asleep while they're making our laws.
Nothing good happens in the middle of the night, isn't that the saying?
Minnesota nice with a lot of spice.
Accepting a plane from Qatar. I thought we're America first. As a professional athlete, don't tell the fans, the people that are paying your salary, that you don't give a damn about what they have to say.
Where the smart people hang out and discuss what matters.
Why are non-public schools getting this money?
Rent control has been an unmitigated disaster.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Chances are you wanted a home with enough space for your growing family when you were younger. If you bought one and the kids are older now and have moved out, you've probably asked yourself if all the maintenance that comes along with owning a bigger home is really worth it. Hey, it's Vanita. If you're thinking of downsizing, you need to call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Dean and Nancy did that, and they had a huge property with almost 12 acres of land. They contacted John, and he was able to do things fast for them for top dollar. Dean and Nancy's home sold in less than 72 hours for more than $25,000 over the asking price. You can have this happen too. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000. Online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by American Rare Coin and Collectibles. Find them at AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com. I-35 northbound, the area of County Road 60 had word of a crash. Not seeing it on the cameras, but we are seeing the slowdowns as you come up from County 70, heading toward the Burnsville split. 169 southbound slows, 494 to Pioneer Trail. Crosstown eastbound, we're heading for the slowdowns there is make the run between Gleason over to Cedar Avenue. Up on the north side, West 694, that's going to be heavy, making way between Matterhorn and 252. If you've inherited valuable coins, gold, silver, or jewelry, where do you turn? American Rare Coin and Collectibles. For over 30 years, American Rare Coins has been purchasing valuable coin and precious metals collections with honesty, transparency, and immediate payment. American Rare Coin and Collectibles.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Lots of rain all over the Twin Cities. Let's get the latest from Chris Schaefer.
Just a few isolated showers possible tonight. Will hang in the low 50s. Tomorrow should be dry for most of the day. Mostly cloudy with a high of 73. Some showers will pop late, and we'll have a chance of scattered showers on Father's Day. Shouldn't be a washout. A high of 80. You'll notice it's going to get humid. It stays humid next week with rounds of rain Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
It sure is not pleasant out there. No matter where you're at in Minnesota, not very nice right now. 59 degrees in St. Paul. Rain's coming, too, on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
I don't like the funny stuff. And I know what you're thinking. I'm familiar with your show. You clearly don't like the funny stuff.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, so a lot of texters at 651-461-9226 have said they thought that I said ace. And so we checked the tape, and, well, I'll play it again, and you decide. Colette, you're on an ace. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than an ace? It is a king. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than a king? It is a 2. Uh-oh. Okay. Higher or lower than a 2?
Let me think here. Higher.
Colette goes higher, and it's an 8. Of course it's an 8. And here we are with one card separating you and $50. I feel like my heart is racing with this game. All right, Colette. Coin flip. Higher or lower than an 8 for the win?
Lower.
Lower than an 8 it is. All right, so I think the coin flip, I don't know. We will invite, if Colette is still listening, she can come back and play again.
Yeah.
We'll give her a fast pass.
Yes.
To come through. So Colette, if you want to send me an email or just give us a call back now, we'll hook you up. The textures are very funny. The law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe has already filed a lawsuit. But we'd love to have Colette play again.
Yeah.
So that would be fine. I feel pretty good. That's why you got to watch on the video, right? YouTube
certainly is helpful.
But it is my fear of this game is because people are hearing it. You're like, oh,
Colette is calling back. Do you want to talk to her live on the air?
Yeah, sure. Put Colette on. Colette?
Yes, I'm the loser.
Well, we want to.
I won't file a lawsuit. I promise.
All right, good.
We appreciate that.
We want to give you a fast pass to guarantee that you can play again because it was 8 and ace sound very similar. So I want you were such a great contestant. We want you to come back and play another time. Okay.
I will certainly. I love this game.
Good. Well, we appreciate you listening. I don't want anybody to feel like they got a raw deal. So Dan will just hang on and Dan will write down your phone number and then so we'll make it happen. Very good.
Super.
Thanks,
you.
Colette. So there you go. You know, I mean, we don't want anybody to feel hosed.
No. We certainly weren't trying to.
I mean, we are playing for $50 American dollars.
Yeah.
That's, that'll get you a couple of burgers for sure.
For sure.
Father's Day is this weekend. As usual, dads get the shaft when it comes to the official holiday. I've talked before about how I don't love that most TV commercials, movies, sitcoms portray dads as idiots. Dads are often portrayed as like the bumbling oaf next to, well, usually in the Hollywood portrayal, it's this bumbling oaf next to a hot wife. And maybe that just hits a little too close to home for me. But I think today's dads have a more challenging scenario in parenting than generations before had. Now, I'm not talking about the world scenario. The world was more difficult, right? The generations ahead of me, you maybe were going to war, right? You were looking at World War II. You were looking at Vietnam, even the Iraq war to a certain degree, but you were looking at draft and war and all of that stuff. And so that was, that was challenging. I think today we are in this very confusing culture and trying to raise good daughters and good sons is just hard. The expectations are different. And I had an amazing father. I still have an amazing father. But the expectations on my dad were very different for the expectations of me. For good reason, right? Like my dad worked for a printing company. When he proposed to my mom, my grandpa, my mom's dad, told my dad that if he wanted to marry his daughter, he had to get a real job. He couldn't be just pumping. My dad was pumping gas at a gas station. So he got a job sweeping floors at this printing company and then spent his whole life kind of bettering his education, moving up the corporate chain, and became quite successful with this family-owned company that grew to be a global printing company. But my dad was always at work. So it was my mom who drove me to play practice or to baseball practice or soccer practice. And when I was in high school, who picked me up from work when I was working. My dad was at work. He would get home at 7. We had already eaten. That was just how it is. I went to almost all of my kids' games. It just was different. And I felt like even I wasn't as present as some of the other dads who were at 100% of things. Things are different for dads today. The other thing that I think is more, well, I don't know if it's more challenging, but it is very difficult. And my experience is as a dad of sons. So I really have no idea what it's like to be a dad of daughters, but trying to raise boys who are good men, who are good to women without being, well, just trying to understand what is the concept of being a man, of masculinity, of this world. Where are we at on this stuff? I think parents have always had to navigate some of the challenges of like, all right, the culture of my kids' world is different from the culture of my childhood and certainly different from the culture of my adulthood. I do think today, like trying to carve out, I don't know, I worry that we're in this like bro culture moment. The bro podcast world, this like oozing machismo kind of gross stuff that I thought we moved away from. Treading that middle ground, I think, is always complicated, right? Like I want my boys to be strong men, but I also want them to be more empathetic and more caring and more sensitive than it was acceptable for me to be when I was a kid. You know, bear in mind, like, if you're 50, when we were kids, it was a very common insult to look at a boy who was maybe not as tough, or even a tough guy who had a sensitive moment, and you'd be like, well, you're gay. Right? Like that was just a normal insult. And thank goodness, well, I say thank goodness we've moved away from that, but are we moving back to that? I worry about that. I think trying to figure out, and this I do think is largely a dad concern. How do I figure out to raise my kids so they're better than I was? Right? Like, isn't that what you want for your kids? I don't know, it's what I want. I want my kids to be better. I want them to be better people. I want them to be kinder. But I also want them to know that it's okay to be a man. And over, I think, the last period of time, that's been it's a challenging thing. We had this sort of, well, you know, we want, and whatever your kid ends up wanting to be, you just want to lead with love. Like, I love you. I will always love you. However you choose to show up in the world is your choice. It's different. I don't think my dad was worried about this stuff. I don't. Texters weighing in at 651-461-9226. Dads get the shaft? I don't think so. Mother's Day is on fishing opener every year. Well, come on. If anyone wants to argue that Father's Day is a bigger deal than Mother's Day, please call in. I would love to hear someone make that case. Drive Time, taking a break, back in just a minute.
It's the afternoon ride with Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, last night, I'm eating a piece of pizza, and on this pizza is beautiful pepperoni. And I turn to my right, and there's the pig farmer who raised the pigs that made that pepperoni. It was such a cool moment and a reminder of how awesome the Minnesota pork community is. It's Jason here. Because when it comes to the love of pork, for me, it starts with flavor, right? And this is what our Minnesota pork farmers are all doing. They are raising animals so they can provide you with delicious pork chops, lean, high in protein, ready to rock. Now, I met Walker Farms, Andy Walker at the pizza farm, was like, oh, Jason, I know you love pork. You got to get, and he gives me 2 pork chops. The man knew the way to my heart. That is for sure. This weekend is your gathering with Dad, celebrating family, celebrating Father's Day. Make Minnesota pork a part of the conversation. Go to your grocery store, go to your butcher shop, get that pork tenderloin, get that beautiful bone-in pork chop, get that slow roasted pork shoulder. Oh, so many good options. Get inspiration at mnpork.com, but go to that grocery store and butcher shop. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner this weekend.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
It's hook, line, and relaxation for Dad this Father's Day at Runnings. Everything you need for Dad is waiting for you at your local running store. Shop incredible selections of clothing, footwear, sporting goods, hunting and fishing gear, tools, mowers, trimmers, automotive, and pet care. Save on fishing gear from Rapala, Abu Garcia, and Berkeley. Yard equipment from Pulsar and Husqvarna. Yard protectors from Roundup and Cutter. Great savings on your favorite pet foods from Nutrisource, Diamond, and Taste of the Wild. Celebrate Father's Day with a trip to your local Runnings. Now with 90 locations. Go to runnings.com to find a store near you.
Grown-ups, aren't Sundays more fun without, can I have screen time? Can I have a snack? I don't want to go to Grandma's. It smells funny. And I'm bored. Bored is impossible on Kids Day at Target Field. The gate 30 for lawn is turned into Bullseye's backyard. Kids' meals are half off. Kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game. And Grandma's invited too. Enjoy your weekend wind-up with Sunday Kids Days, presented by Target. Join in at twins.com/tickets.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try MaintainX for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain in the letter X.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for I-35 as you make way either direction through Lakeville. Got some rain happening down there, and that's helping to slow things down. If you're going to be traveling 494 eastbound, that's a slow ride. Taking the Bush Lake Road, so heading over to Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Go online before you go outside. HilltopCamper.com has what you need. We're here for new and used. We're here for service. We're here for the outdoors. Above all, HilltopCamper.com is here to help you and your loved ones make memories. HilltopCamper.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Well, the rain has arrived in downtown St. Paul. Looking at live radar, it is raining in much of the metro, out west as well. It's cold too, 55 degrees in St. Paul. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with rain late, high of 73. Sunday, the showers will be scattered, but not a total washout, high of 80. Right now, it is 60 degrees in Brooklyn Park on CC.
Drive time continues on the roads and on your radio. News Talk 830 WCCO.
He's mine.
Unfortunately, the Minnesota Twins are not off tonight. They are in Houston. We'll have, fortunately for you, we'll have pregame right here on CCO starting at 6:30, right?
Correct.
Very good. We'll do the temp of the Twins coming up at about 5:45, and I'm here to tell you the temp is not good. It's not good. Yesterday, that was rough. That was rough. Friday the 13th, we can't even blame that. Are you superstitious, Dan?
No, I'm just a little stitious.
A little stitious, yeah. I'm not afraid. You know me. I ain't afraid of nothing.
No.
I ain't afraid of nothing. Before the show, I walked under a ladder, and I threw a mirror right at a black cat.
New month, new flavors. Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. I'm talking about those Sleep Night gummies. I know you love them, and they even have a new and improved Sleep Night gummy. But here's a twist. They got some new flavors. So, better sleep and some yummy new flavors. Great grape, green apple snooze, and mellow mango in the nighttime blend. And of course, everybody loves the peaceful pineapple. That still exists in those Sleep Night gummies. Better sleep is the way to a better you. Mini Leaf can make that happen. I give these out to friends all the time. I recommend them for anybody who's having sleep troubles. You guys know they help me get off my Ambien, really. These gummies help me get off a pharmaceutical. I hope they will do wonders for you. Here's how you get them. Minileaf.com. MINELEAF.com.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
At California Psychics, we know some people can't read the career warning signs, like your boss still not knowing your name.
You, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
So talk to California Psychics and receive the career guidance you need. We only connect you with the very best, so guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Summer's coolest mattress deals are going on now at Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale. This summer, save up to $1,000 on select mattresses and say goodbye to hot sleep and save up to $500 on the best-selling Temper Breeze collection. Plus, feel the freedom to snooze now and pay later with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Better sleep starts at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Postman Law is about winning. If you've been hurt in a crash, on the job, or anywhere else, we fight to get you the most compensation possible. With over $3 billion recovered, our track record speaks for itself. Call 844-POSTMAN. Postman delivers speed, ease, and results. Offices, Minneapolis.
News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Christopher Cruz. Israel isn't letting up in its attacks on Iranian nuclear sites. After Iran fired about 100 ballistic missiles into Israel today, Israel attacked Iran again. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them.
American officials say the U.S. military helped Israel intercept the Iranian missiles. But CBS News contributor Robert Berger says some of the missiles did evade Israeli defenses.
100 missiles were fired at Israel from Iran, according to the military, in 2 salvos. And several were able to evade Israeli and American defenses. So that's the big concern. Even if you have a 90% success rate in stopping these missiles, some can get through. And a ballistic missile from Iran carries 2,000 pounds of explosives.
Some Israelis have been injured. The question now is whether the Israeli attacks accomplish their goal or if Iran will come out of this stronger. Here's CBS's Olivia Gazis.
We don't know whether Israeli actions are successful in eliminating Iran's capabilities to create a nuclear bomb or accelerate them, whether they are a death blow to the existing regime or whether they invigorate it.
Protests are planned nationwide tomorrow to push back against Trump administration policies, including in Portland, Oregon, where Mayor Keith Wilson welcomes them.
We encourage the protesters tomorrow. We encourage the message that we're going to send to the nation that this is how you care for your community.
CBS's Ed O'Keefe says thousands of troops are in the nation's capital for tomorrow's planned parade celebrating the Army's 250th birthday.
6,600 soldiers, more than 24 tanks, dozens of armored fighting vehicles, and choppers.
It's a great opportunity to showcase our soldiers to the nation.
D.C. hasn't seen something like this since 1991, when the nation marked the end of the first Gulf War.
Forecasters say heavy rain and thunderstorms are possible. A political consultant accused of using AI robocalls in New Hampshire's 2024 presidential primary has been found not guilty.
Stephen Kramer admitted he orchestrated the message that sounded just like then President Joe Biden.
Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday.
He had been charged with voter suppression and impersonating a candidate, but says his intention was to raise an alarm on the dangers of AI and expose the need for regulations on the use of artificial intelligence in political campaigns. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The Israel-Iran conflict pushed stocks sharply lower today, and the U.S. benchmark crude jumped to its highest level since January. The Dow closed down almost 2%. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour on the hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy and 55 degrees at 5:03. Good evening. I'm Mark Fry. More details this afternoon about Tuesday night's deadly officer-involved shooting near Albert Lee. The Minnesota BCA saying today that police were called to the 21,000 block of 880th Avenue around 7 p.m. Tuesday after a man texted a woman and told her that he had just killed his mother. That suspect was identified as 44-year-old Nathaniel Bailey of Albert Lee, who fled the scene and then fled a traffic stop a short while later. Investigators say he returned to the home where police were and exited his vehicle with a gun. That's when police opened fire and shot him. He died at the scene. 66-year-old Brenda Krause was found dead from a gunshot wound inside of the home. 5 officers who fired their service weapons have been identified, and they are on critical incident leave. Thousands of Minnesotans are expected to turn out for tomorrow's nationwide day of defiance against the Trump administration.
An estimated 40,000 people turned out for April's Hands Off March and Rally at the state capitol, according to organizers. This time, they say it may be more like 20,000 in St. Paul, given summer travel, with others attending some 40 other events from their cabins in smaller towns. The so-called No Kings demonstrations fall on the same day as President Trump's military parade in Washington, D.C. Spokeswoman Ann Tracy.
So we're really kind of looking at what the tools the forefathers gave us that we can use to try to keep our country, get our country back. You know, we didn't vote for a king. We don't want a king.
Tracy says the Twin Cities event will have speakers, including Governor Tim Walz, live music and activities for all ages, and, she says, more porta potties this time. Laura Oakes, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The No Kings March begins at noon tomorrow at St. Paul College. The University of Minnesota Board of Regents facing some pushback today by some students over the recent approval of the sale of land to an aerospace company.
This comes after the homes of several regents were the target of vandals. Graffiti at the homes referenced the land sale. One of the regents whose home was damaged is James Farnsworth, who talked with WCCO's Vanita Sakhar on the Morning News.
I'm deeply disappointed. I'm deeply disturbed that activism, which I think activism in general is a cornerstone of folks making their voice heard, has really crossed the line and turned, into property damage and other things that really shouldn't be happening.
There's no word of any arrest in connection with the vandalism. The land at the center of the controversy was part of Umore Park in Rosemount. Northwind is paying more than $8 million for the 60 acres of land, which they say will be the site of the Minnesota Aerospace Complex. Al Schock, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And veterans and advocates gathered in Bloomington for a town hall earlier today. A People's Town Hall convened with former VA Secretary Dennis McDonough, U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, and Congresswoman Kelly Morrison to discuss key issues affecting veterans. Senator Klobuchar was very critical of the Trump administration and their recent policy changes regarding the VA.
When you look at not just the
pledges to get rid of employees and what this means. An announcement that 80,000 VA staff were going to be eliminated, which could include 20,000 veterans. So all of this is affecting them in a big way.
She says these events are meant to highlight the critical importance of upholding the care and benefits veterans have earned through their service. 5:06, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for the crosstown both directions between Cedar and Tracy Avenue. East 36, watching slowdowns continue there as you make way past Snelling Avenue, 235E. 694 eastbound, that's jammed up. Highway 10 as you head over to 35E. West 94, some slowing. Weaver Lake Road as we move up to County Road 30. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's been a dreary Friday the 13th. Isolated showers possible overnight. Will fall back to the low 50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. We should be dry for the most part with rain showers popping late. 73 the high. Scattered showers are possible on Father's Day. You'll notice it's going to get a little humid with a high up near 80. We'll have rounds of rain through the first few days next week.
Thank you, Chris. Cloudy 55. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Why read about it tomorrow when you can hear about it now? News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool, brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Do you think when a celebrity gets married and the pictures end up on People magazine and an exclusive, like, do they pay for that? Do you think, like, People pays for it? The reason I ask is that the Star Tribune right now has a story up about a woman I know. I think she's fantastic. The former Bachelorette, Michelle Young. And Michelle Young co-emceed the Children's Hospital Winefest Gala with me. What a thrill for her, I'm sure. Sharing a stage with me.
Probably a bigger highlight than the wedding.
I don't know why, though. Why didn't those pictures get sent to People magazine? I don't know. So she gets married. Fine. Like, great. Good. We're happy, right? Like, I love love. You're pro-love. We're all pro-love. But, like, Bachelorette alum, is that, like, worthy of a People magazine exclusive? Like, she didn't win. She didn't marry a guy from The Bachelor. She married a guy from Minnesota. She was the runner-up on, she was the Bachelorette. Well, all right. So maybe is that why it's a thing? Because she was the Bachelorette. Could you guys tell me if this is a thing? Like, I get a little confused by it because I know this woman and I just think, like, she's a nice lady. She's very talented. She's quite beautiful. I don't know. She married this, another nice dude. He was like a gopher. But it's sort of hilarious. Like, Chad gives me a hard time about all of my sponsorship. But this story in People magazine is like, it name checks like every single, dressed in a tuxedo from Suit Shop, Jack Layes had made his way down the aisle to Lovers and Friends by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Like, I don't know. The couple then exchanged rings from Wedding Day diamonds. It's just so weird. I don't know. Good for them. What the heck, right? But then some poor intern for the Star Tribune, this guy, Lincoln Roch, you're like, I don't know. When I was a kid and I was interning at ABC News, you're like, oh, man, like I've made it. I'm interning at the big media organization in Lincoln, interning at at the Star Tribune. Like, I don't know if this is Lincoln's first story that he wrote for the Star Tribune. Oh, no, this is his third. You're like, hey, Lincoln, go write this story about two people who got their wedding sponsored. And it's in People magazine. I don't know. This is so strange. Let's do the D-Rush Hour news headlines featuring far more
time
important
to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRush Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight.
We
begin tonight. We begin with the lead.
And I want to start with that news story that you just heard a little bit of from Mark Fry, talking about the University of Minnesota regents who had their houses vandalized. Now, I understand that I am not always going to be in touch with the issues that get activists fired up. But this story about the university selling a piece of land and protesters being mad about it because the land is being sold to a company that is probably going to use it for some sort of military purpose feels like it's out of like the 1960s. This land is the ruins of an ammunition plant. And so we're mad that like it's just supposed to sit there. 60 acres being sold for $8 million in a deal that the regents approved more than a month ago, but apparently people just paid attention to it. And protesters, in fact, went so far, at least that's the allegation, that it was a protester, and who the heck else would do this, but protesters went so far as to vandalize the homes of 4 University of Minnesota regents. Just outrageous. One of the regents told his story to Vanita Sakar this morning.
It is. It's very troubling. You know, I have a friend who serves on the University of Michigan Board of Regents who's had damage and vandalism to not only his home, but his office as well. And so it can extend to that. And that's what we're seeing across the country. I believe in dialogue and discourse being very important and cornerstone, you know, to good public policy making. There should be dialogue and discourse around what's going on with our state's land grant R1 university. And as a governing board member, I believe in engaging in that. You know, my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number, and my university email address have been on our board webpage since I was elected in March of 2021. So I really welcome engagement and welcome the chance to talk to folks that have concerns, questions, feedback, suggestions around issues that come in front of our board. But I think we should lean into dialogue and constructive dialogue, even when it's uncomfortable and even when we may disagree. But this kind of way of expressing feelings on matters is just really disappointing and discourages folks from serving in these roles that I think are really important. You know, right now we're in the middle of a regional election, and when people see stuff like this, maybe they're going to be rethinking about wanting to take on that service, which I think we need more people willing to engage in this type of service. So it just does has so many negative impacts across the board, and it's just really discouraging.
That's James Farnsworth, a U of M regent, one of the victims of the vandalism, on with Vanita this morning. Just outrageous. Whatever your cause is, we need to be very, very definitive about saying we are not going to allow protesters to come to the home of elected officials. We're not going to allow this sort of vandalism. It's, you know, you may disagree with something that a university is doing, but to target the regents is just outrageous. Next up on the lead, something that Blois Olson wrote about in the Daily Agenda in his morning take. And you could subscribe at thedailyagenda.com. But Blois wrote about a little Minnesota on Minnesota violence. What was going on yesterday on Capitol Hill with Republicans from Minnesota lining up to attack the Democratic governor. Blois writes this: Representatives Tom Emmer, Michelle Fischbach, and Pete Stauber missed their opportunity to truly press Walz on his rhetoric and record. While Walz had a dull performance. It was more civil than the anger of the 3 Minnesota GOPers that questioned him. The real issue is that Minnesotans don't trust anyone. And why would they? That this is part of politics today. There used to be a bit of a tradition where we felt like Minnesotans were different than politicians all around the country, that Minnesotans, we had respect for each other, even political party that we disagree with. You still respected the service, respected the office. Yesterday, what we saw was a reality that I do think Minnesotans have to get their arms around. We're not better than anybody. Our politicians are as politician-ish as anywhere else. Governor Walz is as guilty as anybody else in this, but we're not special. And I'm sad about that. I do think that should disaster come, our politicians, regardless of their party, will work together. But I don't know, man. Like, that used to be a given where we wouldn't have to worry about it. Today, I'm not so sure. Everybody's looking for that gotcha moment. And I think yesterday, for Minnesota politics, I think yesterday was one of the low points. I do. It was embarrassing and not the way that I want political leaders to act. All right, one more story in the lead before we get to page 2. And this is a Supreme Court decision in an Osseo schools case that has ramifications all around the country. Dr. Peter Larson is with us to break down what this means, because the Supreme Court took on a case, a local case from a family that was trying to sue the school district. But sort of the complicated behind the scenes of this could end up being a very major deal for a lot of school districts all around the country. Peter.
You're right that it's rare to see this level of unanimity with this current court. I would say it's a simple, straightforward decision, but it's a meaningful and a very impactful decision.
Obviously, school districts around our area and around the country now should brace for a number of lawsuits. I would think this opens the door for really an incredible amount of litigation against schools for not accommodating various disabilities, right?
Yes, in some ways, yes, that's true. What this decision did today was clarified the legal standard by which students could bring litigation. A number of circuits or geographical regions had adopted a higher standard. And what the court did with this decision was they said, no, actually, there is no higher requirement for these educational cases. It's the same standard that we use with other challenges under the Americans with Disabilities Act or Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act.
This specific case involved a young child who had seizures that tended to happen in the morning. So the family wanted an accommodation of a school day that would be like noon to 6 p.m., which, as someone who doesn't have a child with a disability, you do look at this and think like, holy moly. The fact that you can kind of create your own academic environment is pretty remarkable. And also, it appears to be the law that you can get those kind of accommodations. When you look at the big picture of this, what's your takeaway as to what this will mean going forward?
That's a great question. Congress passed the Individuals with Disabilities and Education Act, which guaranteed that all students are entitled to a free and appropriate public education. And within that, we've seen that a number of accommodations are allowed. The idea with this was that we would be integrating individuals with disabilities into the schools, into these mainline classrooms. And Congress promised initially that they were going to cover up to 40% of this cost of per student accommodation. In reality, that number has never gotten above 15 or 16% and oftentimes has been lower. So when you look at the reasonability of these accommodations, yes, it can seem unreasonable, and it may seem even more unreasonable to those school districts who have to shoulder that cost. However, if you're looking at this from the viewpoint of the individuals with those disabilities, certainly it's going to be a large benefit for them, and it's a benefit for the children within those schools who are able to have a wide exposure of different individuals in the classrooms.
Yeah. From a legal standpoint, whether this is difficult to pay for or whether it's difficult for the schools isn't really the issue. Congress passed a law. The Supreme Court upheld what that law was. That's pretty much the bottom line, right?
I think that's exactly right. That's the bottom line.
Very interesting. Peter Larson, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
That is the D-Rush Hour News Headlines lead. Page 2 is coming your way in just a minute. So much to talk about in page 2, including the Rapidan Dam. Remember that bursting? One store, one home had to shut down. It's relocated. What do Americans think about the protests in California? And interesting conversation with Cheryl Reeve about how you coach Hall of Famers. That's coming up.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Big sale this weekend at J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina. It's going to be raining, so why not go to the Galleria? Get Dad, load him up in the car, and off to J.H. & Sons, the finest men's clothing store in the Twin Cities. The Halberstadt family has been amazing. They started in St. Cloud. Then they opened in Omaha. They're in Sioux Falls. And these stores are the talk of those towns. They are the best fabric, the best design, the best suits. And people think of J.H. & Sons as kind of the cream of the crop. You're going to get the best tailor in the Twin Cities. You are going to get a top-notch experience. And you deserve it. Now, J.H. & Sons right now has 20% off all seasonal casual clothing. So lots of fun stuff for the summer at 20% off. But then even more, you'll find cologne and leather like wallets, or you can get a belt that is exactly cut to your dad and your dad's needs. It's top-notch service, top-notch fabric, specialty men's store that you deserve. I've had incredible experience at J.H. & Sons. You can sign up for their email list at jhandsons.com, but just stop in the store. They'd love to see you tomorrow. They'd love to see you Sunday. That sale ends Sunday, so get there this weekend to J.H. & Sons.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, good boy.
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's an original and it's connecting. I like that. That's exciting.
It is very exciting. I'm glad to see that.
DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Rush Hour News headlines continuing with page 2. And we begin with a question that I was wondering about after the Rapidan Dam burst. Remember when that dam burst and we were like, well, there's not that much around there. But there was one house and one restaurant and store that got wiped out.
It's our legacy. We want to keep it going, and we're proud of our parents.
For Jenny Barnes and her brother David Hershka, the past year has brought about many changes. In May, the Dam Store restaurant their family has run for more than 50 years officially reopened in downtown Mankato.
That's Channel 4's John Lauritsen. Jenny Barnes and her brother David Hershka relocated. So that restaurant that they ran for more than 50 years is now in downtown Mankato, which is, it's not exactly right near there. But 6 days a week they're open, getting it done, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Pretty cool stuff. It's nice to see them giving it a go again. But if you're down in Mankato, go give them a little support. They've been through it. Best Dam Store is what they call it, but the Dam Store Cafe now on South Front Street in Mankato. Bring cash. Something charming about a cash-only cafe as well, except if you don't have cash. What do Americans think about the protests in Los Angeles?
Justice! Now! Justice! Now!
Washington Post and George Mason University texted more than 1,000 Americans, including more than 200 Californians, to ask. And what I found interesting is that, we're so divided. You look at the same stuff and you're like, 41% support Donald Trump sending the National Guards and the Marines to respond. 44% don't. 39% support the protests in LA. 40% oppose. 35% think the protesters have been mostly peaceful. 37% mostly violent. The real divide is with people who are paying attention and who are not paying attention, because there's a big difference depending on how much you're watching. The truth is Democrats are watching more. They're watching the protest coverage more, and Republicans are watching the military coverage. We really are two different countries, aren't we? Banking appears to be the future of the IDS in downtown Minneapolis. Yeah, money. Allison Kaplan, the editor of TCB Magazine, writing about the expansion of Associated Bank's headquarters and move to IDS. So if you look at IDS, there was a time where it was two stories of retail. And now there are 6 financial institutions in that building. The Crystal Court is so cool. I do love that space in downtown Minneapolis. But Nordstrom Rack, gone. Gap Store, gone. Banana Republic, Love from Minnesota, Rocco Altabelli Salon, Hubert White, all of it gone. The leasing agent says they're optimistic because finally people are talking about retail deals down there. But it's all banks. Associated Bank, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, Huntington Bank, Wells Fargo, and Bremer which will soon be Old National. Finally, how do you coach people who are Hall of Famers?
Here is more. Good ball fake, cuts between two, make it a third, and scoops it in with the left hand. Wizardry from Maya Moore.
So this is the same question that people ask my boss, Brad Lane. They're like, Brad, how do you, when you're just surrounded by excellence, when you're surrounded by people like Dan Cook, future radio Hall of Famers, DeRusha, who will probably create his own Hall of Fame. He doesn't get into the Minnesota. So Cheryl Reeve is who The Athletic talked to. And it was a really interesting story because, look at Cheryl Reeve, Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, Nafisa Collier will likely be a Hall of Famer, and that include the Olympic team that she coached, all those Hall of Famers. She said the key is holding them accountable to standards even beyond their wildest imagination for their own ability. Great players want to be coached, and great players never think they're good enough. But she did note that over the years, players want to be talked to in a different way than it used to be. She could be a little tougher. Now she is trying to figure out how to use her words in a way that is more effective. That's the D-Rush Hour News headlines on this Friday afternoon. The Minnesota Twins could use a little bit of coaching help. Maybe Dan Hayes has the answers as to what has happened to the pitching. We thought that was going to be the strength. Dan Hayes joins us in a minute here on
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Summer's coolest mattress deals are going on now at Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale. This summer, save up to $1,000 on select mattresses and say goodbye to hot sleep and save up to $500 on the best-selling Temper Breeze collection. Plus, feel the freedom to snooze now and pay later with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Better sleep starts at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Summer is around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that summer trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials, our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man aged 45, non-smoker, can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month. Level rate for 10 years. Or a man aged 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 800-786-9161. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-786-9161. Remember, 1-800-786-9161. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important.
Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
We've got some slow stuff for I-35 as you make way through Lakeville, especially on the northbound side. You come up from County Road 70 toward the Burnsville split, rather. If you're traveling Highway 62 eastbound, that's going to be a slow ride, continuing as you make way between Tracy and Cedar. Over in St. Paul, 52 northbound looking good, 494 to Highway I-94 and 36 eastbound, some slowing the area of Snelling Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Go online before you go outside. HilltopCamper.com has what you need. We're here for new and used. We're here for service. We're here for the outdoors. Above all, HilltopCamper.com is here to help you and your loved ones make memories. HilltopCamper.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Hilltop Camper and RV bringing us the weather forecast, and here is Chris Schaefer.
Just a few isolated showers possible tonight. We'll hang in the low 50s. Tomorrow should be dry for most of the day, mostly cloudy with a high of 73. Some showers will pop late, and we'll have a chance of scattered showers on Father's Day. Shouldn't be a washout. A high of 80. You'll notice it's going to get humid. It stays humid next week with rounds of rain Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Brooklyn Park, it feels like 51. It's 59 on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is getting rolling again. Perfect. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dan Hayes is here to talk about the Twins. I want to give you guys a chance to ask Dan questions. So if you have anything you want to ask Dan Hayes, 651-461-9226. Dan, it's been a rough June, hasn't it?
Yeah, that would be, especially the last 3 days.
Yeah,
man, that was ugly. That was the UGLY. You ain't got no alibi.
Right.
That was so bad.
It was brutal. Yesterday was especially painful, I think. And obviously, Bailey Ober is a tough deal. And you wrote a little bit, even the day before his start, about some of the physical challenges that he's been going through and some of the mechanics things that he's been struggling with.
Yeah, he said basically he's been feeling some hip discomfort. It's basically he just needs maintenance, and the Twins have said it, and Bailey said it. He's pitched through worse. He's like the players play through stuff all the time, but what he's working on has definitely altered his mechanics a little bit, where he is trying to get them back. And I think he felt like he was making progress, but clearly he had a very rough day yesterday, giving up the home runs, walking 6 guys. I mean, there's months where he doesn't walk 6 guys. He's such a control specialist, and it's definitely clear he's off a little bit right now. And given the other uncertainty in the rotation, it just makes things more difficult. Already, I would say when they're going at their full strength, it's Pablo Lopez number 1, Joe Ryan 2, Bailey Ober number 3. And right now, their number 1 is out for another 11 weeks, or maybe 7 weeks, but minimum 7 to 11 weeks. And then their number 3 is struggling, and so right now the rotation's in a little bit of turmoil.
I always make the point, Dan, that when you lose by 10 or 13, well, they lost by 12 on Tuesday and 13 yesterday, it still only counts as 1 loss. but it somehow feels way more dire when you just get shellacked like that.
Yeah, well, look, in games where you lose late and you're in it, those are very tough too, but at least you felt like you were in it. A game like yesterday, a game like Monday or Tuesday, both those games, you're not in it for more than an inning or two, and then they're just long days. Fortunately for the first one on Tuesday night, the 16-4 loss, that was like a 2-hour and 40-minute game or something like that. Right. So it was kind of quick for a shellacking. Yesterday dragged out a little bit, and I don't even think it was under 3, I think also, but just a lot of time to sit around and realize you're getting your butt kicked. It's non-competitive. Fans tune out, and it's not like it was an enjoyable day at the ballpark. It was raining a little bit.
Yeah.
Very foggy, probably smoke from the fire. The air quality was terrible. So it's not like it was a great day at the ballpark.
Which of those is your number one excuse to how poorly the Twins have been playing? Is it the smoke? Is it the rain? Is it what are we going to go with? Like
we're going with bad starting pitching.
Yeah,
we'll just be real. And look, teams go through lulls. This team, as of June 4th, was 4th in starting pitcher WAR and 5th in starting pitcher ERA in baseball out of 30. It's pretty good. And the first 10 they were terrible.
Yeah.
So it's not shocking to see them go through a rough stretch, but this one, with Pablo being hurt and Zebby Matthews getting hurt too, it's going to make it a little bit harder to get out of. You need your other guys performing, and that was why David Festa pitching well on Wednesday was actually
nice. Yeah,
it was a huge deal for this team. If David Festa can just give them a chance to win, you feel like you're going into most games with a chance to win, and winning the majority of those games. Some of the other ones, you're just going to have your offense out, slug the team, do it that way, whatever. But you need functional guys, and Festa doing that was a big pick me up.
The Twins did trade Alcala this week, and they didn't really. I mean, they got like an A.
No, it was a nothing trade.
It was a nothing trade. They were just unloading him, right, to create some room.
Yeah, and look, it's the end of an era that is disappointing. There were some good moments for Jorge Alcala, but he was brought in to be a big arm. They got him back in the Ryan Presley trade.
Right.
Ryan Presley has obviously been a stud since he left. The Twins had trouble unlocking him, and he needed to go to Houston to do what the Twins had suggested he do with them, and it didn't work with the Twins for whatever reason. Well, Alcala was the kind of the prize piece of that, and he just never really developed. He always struggled with lefties. I think some of it also may have been the fact that he was bounced back and forth in roles. Like, that's the guy who, honestly, to me, even though he came up as a starting pitcher, I think, especially when you're throwing 100, he probably should have maxed out at 1 inning at a time. And there were times where the Twins needed to ask him to do 2, and he struggled. And I mean, he constantly was in the manager doghouse or the coaching staff doghouse because he's kind of a quiet guy. It was hard to get a read on him. Sometimes things happen, and at the end here, he was just so low on the pecking order that it became time to move on. And frankly, they're probably, I think if they thought about it differently, they would have gone back a year or two and traded him when he had more value. But you never know, and you never stop taking a chance on a guy with an arm like that, and that's why they were willing to keep giving them chances. But it just didn't pan out, and I mean, Jorge Alcala is a good dude. He's a family guy. I think he'll, maybe he takes the lessons learned here and excels in Boston. I mean, the chance will be there for him, and he definitely is capable of doing it. But he's got to be way more consistent as a pitcher with his velocity. One day it'd be 94, one day it'd be 99. And that's not great when your coaches are going, is he hurt? What's going on? And then he could dial back up in a second. It's just a situation that wasn't going to work out.
Dan Hayes with The Athletic here on CCO. What are the Twins going to do with Joey Wentz? This is the pitcher they grabbed off waivers from the Pirates. Obviously, he was on waivers, so I don't know that he's the solution to anything, but what's your thought on that?
Well, I think they see some potential mechanical things they like that maybe they think they can enhance him. Right now, he is sort of the second lefty in the bullpen, but he's got to earn trust to get some of those spots. And he'll pitch multiple innings like we saw him do yesterday, or like the plan was for him to do yesterday. He needs to get more outs. He needs to be successful. It was kind of rough getting the call on the first day yesterday. I think they would have loved it if they didn't have to use him and let him settle in, and instead he had to go. And the game was out of hand as it was. But I think there's hope. They said they're excited about the possibilities. I think they want to do their pitching thing and maybe convince him to throw a different pitch or try something a little different. We'll see. Haven't really got a chance to dive into that too much, but it could be that he just turns out to be a body, fresh
Right.
on, and they have a couple long guys. Both are in the minors, and Travis Adams and Michael Tonkin, who cleared waivers today and was accepted an outright assignment back to AAA St. Paul. So he's still with the Twins. He's just not on the 40-man anymore. And it's possible one of those two guys, if Wentz comes up and doesn't succeed, that Wentz could be replaced by either Adams or Tonkin in the near future.
Royce Lewis has been in a major hitting slump. The last 7 games, he's kind of turned it around. He's hitting 400 over the last 7 games. Do you get when for the season he only has 18 hits? I mean, 18 hits is abysmal. That is not what you expect from a Royce Lewis. Do you think he's sort of figured something out, or what's your gut say here?
Yeah, I think he's on the right path. When he can start to do it with a little more power, that's when we know he's back. But you got to start, you got to walk before you can run. And I think he needed to do that, especially given the way he started coming back. In spring training, he felt really good. He had put in a lot of great work in the off season, and he liked where he was at. He suffered the unfortunate injury, and then he kind of came back and really struggled. And, he had that 0 for 17 or whatever it was to start. It was attached to last year. Then he got a hit, and everybody was kind of excited because it was a home run, and he had a second home run rob that day. And then he had another long stretch, an 0 for. But I think that this is a good starting point for him, just to get some feel back, because I do think he's a player who he's one of those guys that has to feel good. And when he feels good, it enhances everything. And I just mean from a confidence standpoint, from a happiness standpoint, when he feels good about himself, like he's an upbeat dude, and he's had to deal with some stuff this last year that was probably mentally taxing for him, just not being elite and at the top of his game. And he's had to deal with it twice in 2 seasons. So for him, that little, I think it's 8 for 14 or 8 for 17, somewhere around there, whatever you said, 400. That's a really good place to start. And, if they can now get some home runs added into that, and he becomes that dynamic force again, they're in a much better position to handle their pitching kind of struggles or their pitching challenge, I guess.
Yeah. All right. We sound so down. I mean, it's sort of the reality right now, right? Like not too much to be excited about, but.
Well, it's overcast. It's June, and it's overcast, and it's ugly. It's rainy. Come on, man. This is summertime. What the heck?
Agreed. Dan, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Jason. Thanks.
Dan Hayes. You can read him at The Athletic, at theathletic.com. We'll take the temp of the team. That'll be fun in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason here, and even though the skies are overcast, it is always a good time to think about protecting your skin from the sun. Terrene Dermatology wants to help you. They are unbelievable people. Terrene Dermatology started as just one office, the small team in Roseville, Minnesota. Now there are 9 locations. More than 25 board-certified providers. They can take care of any skin type, any skin color, any issue. And what I want to encourage you to do is to not just treat your skin like, it's not that big of a deal. I can suffer through it. That acne will be fine. That eczema, it flares up, but it's no big deal. You deserve to take care of yourself. And the team at Terrene Dermatology will take all of this very, very seriously. They'll treat you with love and empathy, but They want you to feel and look your best. Go to TareneDermatology.com, TAREEN dermatology.com. I love that they get you in within 3 weeks. That is unbelievable. They do it for CCO radio listeners. So make that website visit. 9 spots. They're in Hudson. They're in Lakeville. They're in Lindstrom. Go make an appointment today at TareneDermatology.com.
Summer's here, and now's a perfect time for that new roof. Head to HonestExteriors.com and get an instant quote. Get 0% financing on roofing, siding, windows, and gutters at Honest Exteriors. Local pros, honest work. Visit HonestExteriors.com.
You know that feeling when you're about to cut into a juicy steak and hope it tastes as perfect as it looks? Well, worry no more. The Chef IQ Sense is a wireless cooking thermometer that eliminates under or overcooking your chicken, fish, or meat, whether on the stovetop, oven, or grill. The probe is inserted into your food and connected wirelessly to an app. Once you select your desired doneness, the app alerts you when to take the steaks off the grill or the turkey out of the oven. It's that simple. Order one now on ChefIQ.com. That's ChefIQ.com.
612 Saturdays are back at Target Field. Enjoy $6 drinks, $1 snacks, and $2 food when gates open.
I'm from the 952. Can I enjoy 612 Saturdays?
The 952 is welcome.
I'm from the 218.
218, 651. Everyone is welcome at 612 Saturdays.
I'm from the 313. How about me?
That's Detroit.
Yeah.
Sure. Enjoy the weekend wind-up with 612 Saturdays presented by Carbliss. $6 drinks, $1 snacks, and $2 food. When we're together, the Twins rise as one. Join in at twins.com/tickets.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Do you know what went down at the Viper Room the night River Phoenix died? Are you aware of how Steve McQueen escaped death at the hands of the Manson family? But what about the real-life brutal murder that inspired David Lynch's Twin Peaks? These stories and more are told in the Hollywoodland podcast, where true crime and Tinseltown collide. Follow and listen to Hollywoodland wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
So I think it easy as you cruise the system. So got the rain and wet roads. Make sure you're buckled up and the headlights are on. If you're going to be traveling across town, that remains a bit of a slow ride, both directions between Cedar and Highway 100. Eastbound 394 jamming up past Penn Avenue. And if you're traveling North 35W, not too bad actually out of Minneapolis, heading up toward Highway 10. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Flint Hills Resources, Pine Bend Refinery in Rosemount. You see it as you drive by. Did you know they're celebrating 70 years of producing fuels that help move us forward? To learn more, go to pinebendrefinery.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Beautiful Pine Bend Refinery, our friends at Flint Hills Resources bringing us the weather forecast. And despite the beauty, Ember Grove Heights right now, I don't think it's that nice. It's 57 degrees. At least it's not raining in that part of the Twin Cities. There is rain all over the place right now. We'll have showers throughout much of the evening, low of 52. Tomorrow, rain late, 73. Sunday, it'll be 80, getting humid. And guess what? It's just going to rain straight through Wednesday. Build the ark. It stinks here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
You are speaking the truth, Jason.
DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Let's take the current temp of your Minnesota Twins. Brought to you by Chef IQ Sense. Get your wireless meat thermometer now at chefiq.com.
Oh, I used my Chef IQ Sense just the other day. We're making steak. I cooked it to medium rare. Chef IQ Sense told me right when to take the steak off the grill. Beautiful. The Twins, Dan, the temperature, we have been hovering in the lukewarm category. Where would you, Dan Cook, put the temperature of the Twins today?
Getting chillier.
Yeah.
Getting chillier. Obviously, you and Dan just discussed it. The pitching has been just flat out awful over about the last week or so. That Texas series, you just want to try and flush that one, put it behind you, and hope for better days moving forward. One bright spot.
Okay.
One small little spot of heat.
Let's hear it.
The Twins' way is one Byron Buxton.
Yes.
Who's been doing his best MVP impersonation over the last week or so. Over the last week, his OPS, now granted, a major league average OPS is like around 730.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit higher than that. His OPS over the last week has been 1405.
Oh, my.
That's on-base percentage plus slugging percentage.
Right.
He's just been hitting the cover off the ball. And he had perhaps the best full inning of a Twins players ever had in terms of that diving catch.
Yes.
And then a 479-foot home run, which might still be traveling if the stadium hadn't gotten in the way. Second longest home run hit this season. And one of the longest in Twins history at Target Field. So
that was in the 6-2 win over the Rangers.
Yes.
Didn't they? I thought I saw on the telecast that there was like a mark where that home run hit and they were going to put like a plaque up or something.
I don't know if they're going to put a plaque up or not, but yeah, there was a mark where it hit and then I think it glanced off of one of the ushers and then jumped into the section where there was some folks standing there. And
it was so high. Like when you watch the replay, the excellent photographers that they have
underestimated
and went low.
Yes,
because you're like,
we had to pan up.
You're like, oh my goodness, that one really.
Because people don't hit baseballs where that ball was hit. It's just crazy.
Pretty fun. Dan, we're out of time.
Yes, we are.
Whoops.
No, we're good.
All right. Henry Lake is next.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Summer is around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending